Hello, welcome to the Rooms with Ronald podcast, brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. I'm your host, Ronald Harrington. In 2023, I set an intention to shop 100 apartment communities to see how leasing was evolving around the country. Rooms with Ronald was born out of that experience. In this series, I share my experiences and engage in meaningful conversations with other professionals in the industry as we discuss all things related to leasing and marketing. Join in as we expand the Rooms with Ronald experiment. Happy May, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Rooms with Ronald, the Micro Living Edition. I'm your host, Ronald Harrington, and today in our Micro Living Edition, we're going to cover a topic in 10 minutes or less. Now, most of you know I'm from Indiana, and with this being May, in Indiana, that's a big deal, right? It is the start of the Indy 500 month. It's a big month leading up to everything through Memorial Day for the big race. And I was just reading the statistics that they're expecting this Indy 500 to be one of the largest ones. Parking has outsold it over the previous years by 3 weeks. So it's going to be big. But we're not here to talk about racing, right? We are here to talk about leasing. And because it is racing month, though, I want you to rev up your leasing teams for a successful leasing season. What does that mean, right? We know burnout is happening in the industry. We know leasing agents are being asked to do more with less training in the skill set. So this is our time to really raise our stakes, to really rev up our engines and go full throttle into leasing seasons, because this is what we know. We know that this leasing season is going to be like on any other that we've experienced, right? We are in a concession-driven markets now. The renter has more choices, lower prices, and higher concessions. And a lot of our teams aren't equipped to handle that, to understand that. Now, a lot of times I'll go to the sites and that's the first thing that I hear is, I need a larger concession. I need my pricing dropped. But we know that people will pay more for the experience and for the customer service. It statistically shows us over and over and over again that's the case. But leasing people aren't set up to be successful. So this is where that's got to change, right? We need to really dive in and give them the tools, build the confidence. And you will hear me say this over and over to my teams, right? That practice does not make perfect. Perfect does not exist, not in this industry, not in any industry. There's always going to be something, and you can't be perfect 100% of the time. But what practice does is practice makes confidence. Give them the tools to be confident, give them the upskill training to be confident, give them the rope to be confident in what they're doing, which comes down to back to the racing theme, right? So when we think about racing, it's a high stakes game, right? In Indy, the Indy 500, as you know, that's 500 laps around the track, usually going in the excess of 120 plus miles per hour. So there has to be a communication skill between all parties involved, because those pit stops can make or break where you stand in the polls. And here's the other interesting thing about racing to me is that leading up to the race, they're polling, a week or two before to see where they stand, which guess what that means? That means it's practice, right? They get practice time. They get time on the track to understand what the nuances are. If I turn this way, what happens? But it also gives the pit crew time to practice those skills and going in, because that communication has to be spot on, right? You have to fully be aware of the big photo. You have the driver driving the car who can tell you, something doesn't feel right. He's radioing into his pit crew that, hey, on this next turn, I'm getting off and we're coming in. We need to do a quick tire change. We need to add more gas. We need to fix whatever. And a lot of those pit stops take 30, 45 seconds because that's all they got. So all of those people come together in that time. But what's more miraculous to me about that sense is that everyone on the team knows the role that they're playing and what is to design. No one is tripping over someone, and they have effectively communicated the expectation and the issues. And they're not often together, right? I mean, the driver is not standing there, right? The team is watching the race on their televisions in their little area. They're going through the process, and they know, like, hey, I noticed your tire looks, or you took that turn wrong. We need to come in and fix something, right? So they've effectively communicated that something's wrong and we need to go in. That has to happen in multifamily. And it does not today, right? Everyone on the team needs to understand what the stakes are. What is vacancy loss? What is loss to lease? How does having an apartment not ready in 5 to 7 days equate to this financial goal or this KPI or what is this? This includes the maintenance team. How does the maintenance team feed into the overall success? It has to be such a well-oiled machine for people to be successful. And I think once we crack that, we're going to see a confidence in our leasing staff. We're going to see a confidence in our maintenance team. And I have some theories why our maintenance teams are necessarily always rushing around to turn units, right? Because they turn them, and then what happens? They sit there. They sit vacant. They get dirty. And then someone finally moves in a couple months later, and they are like, okay, so, here we go. Now the leasing staff goes back to the maintenance team and says, hey, we need to clean this. Can you get your cleaners in there? And there's this whole big communication, right? So I think we need to get everyone reading from the same sheet of music, everyone watching the same show, and take that philosophy of racing and putting it into the multifamily world to understand what that is. And I think that is going to rev us up for leasing season. I was with Mike Brewer not too long ago, and he said something to me that just clicked, and now I use it. So the next time you're in a staff meeting, I want you to pull your previous month's financials, and I want you to look at your vacancy loss and take that vacancy loss, that number, and make some bills, print out some bills, maybe have them visualize it, but ask them, say, okay, I want you to take this $20,000 and I want you to put it on the table. Let them do that. And then I want you to say, now I want you to throw some gas on and I want you just to light it up, put it on fire. And when they have some hesitation about that $20,000 of doing that, then you get to have the conversation of that's what vacancy loss is. And that's what we're doing every month. And make sure that maintenance is there. You can do this with turn time. You can do this with parts spent and money on the financials from that, but making sure that everyone knows the stakes and everyone is that well-oiled machine, is that maintenance knows I'm going to get this apartment ready. They're going to lease it the next day. They're going to do, this AC's out. I'm going to have it fixed. They're going to, having that communication is going to be critical in this new season, because I've seen up to 3 months so far on concessions. A lot of not great customer service, but they're offering 3 months and people are going to go to that. I hope that this helped rev you up for leasing season today on this micro living edition. I can tell you, I am revving up for a busy May. I've got some big announcements coming out soon for the month of May. I'm off next week to the Apartment Innovation and Marketing, or the AIM conference. So if you're there, please come connect with me. And then next week, also, I will be dropping our 50th episode of Rooms with Ronald. I can't believe it. And we have a very special guest, the lady who kind of propelled the Rooms with Ronald brand. She joins us to tell us what our sites are getting wrong about marketing in the marketing team. Until next time, guys, you have been listening to Rooms with Ronald, the micro living edition. And today we revved up for a busy leasing season. Until next time, guys, happy leasing. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope I left you with some fresh ideas or a new perspective. Leasing and marketing are evolving rapidly, and Rooms with Ronald is committed to offering a place to hear about those changes. We also celebrate and acknowledge the fundamentals of exceptional service that will never go out of style.
So if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, or subscribe. Visit multifamilymedianetwork.com to learn more about our other exceptional industry podcasts, call pieces, and sponsorship opportunities.